Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Today we're looking at some new cards which are going to be supporting the Yu-Gi-Oh Rush Duels KP18, and it appears to have including a fusion monster. The first card is Plandolin a la Mode. It's a level 7 wind attribute psychic type fusion effect monster. It has 2200 attack and 2000 defense points. It requires Plandolin and Fiddle Bador as its materials. It has no requirements as that's fine. The continuous effect is if you'd fusion summon a level 8 or higher monster with the effect fusion or psychic fusion, you can also use psychic monsters in your graveyard as material. If you do, shuffle materials from field or graveyard into the owner's deck. The summoning condition on this card isn't difficult, but it is very specifically named monsters, so unless you're able to substitute the names of those monsters, it can be tricky to get this card out. It is an only 2200 attack points for a level 7, but that might be towards the cap of what those cards tend to be. Has no requirements, so there isn't really a downside to it, and the continuous effect is so long as you're fusion summoning a level 8 or higher monster with the effect of either the fusion or a psyquip fusion, which is like psychic fusion, that's the kind of pun to it, you're able to use psychic monsters in your graveyard as material. Those cards, instead of being, for example, banished, they just get sent back to the deck. So that's a good way of recovering those cards without having to run things such as Pot of Avarice as like a backup. It says here that as part of the notes, Plunder and Mandolin a la Mode is French for fashionable or modern style for whatever reason. American English seems to use it heavily for ice cream. Yeah, a la mode is very much used in ice cream desserts types of things, so when I first heard that, I kind of got the reference. The second card is Psyquip da Capo. It's a normal spell card with no requirements. The effect is to send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, then you can choose one fusion or psyquip fusion in your graveyard, place it on the top or bottom of your deck. If you returned a card, then you quick fusion in your graveyard and add it to your hand. This card has no requirements, so that's great, and the effect is to just send 2 cards of the deck to the graveyard. You're able to take a fusion or psychic fusion in your graveyard, and it either goes to the bottom of the deck or to the top, depending on your situation. If you returned a card, then you can choose a wind psychic monster. That's very specific, but that's probably how the deck likes to run. A fusion or psychic fusion in your graveyard and add it back to your hand, so that's additional recovery. It says here in the notes that da capo is an Italian musical term that means from the beginning, literally from the head. The term is a directive to repeat the previous part of music, often used to save space, and thus is an easier way of saying to repeat the music from the beginning. So this seems to be a music themed startup deck, and the 2 monsters here, well, the fusion and the spell card seem to be quite useful. This fusion monster helps to add to the consistency of the deck, and it seems to provide a way of recovering cards without adding just generic cards. I'd love to know your opinions of these 2 cards. If you can put those down below, what you think of them. Are they good? Are they decent? Are they bad? Make sure to like the video, it really helps support the channel, and it'd be great if you can subscribe. Thank you.